All right, I'm read into this real quick. This is LGBT rights in India, and let me read the scripture real fast. It said, Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 6. It says, "For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." Right now, this whole LGBT community thing that's going on, it isn't like this is the only thing that's bad about this place because I know I bring this out a lot every now and again. And I'm pretty sure other brothers bring this out, but this is an abomination according to the scriptures. One, two. There's other things out that's going on. Also that got the whole world in wickedness, like witchcraft. Um, I just had a couple things on my mind too. Hmm, I forgot them, but yeah. I'm okay. I'm reading to this. It says LGBT rights in India. It says lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in India may face legal and social difficulties not experienced by non-LGBT persons. Over the past decade, LGBT people have gained more and more tolerance and acceptance in India, especially in large cities. See, that's why these storms is happening because they got this wickedness going on over there, man. It says, nevertheless, most LGBT people in India remain closeted, fearing discrimination from their families who might see homosexuality as shameful, and it ain't might, it is shameful. It says it's an abomination. This discrimination is still present in rural areas where LGBT people often face rejection from their families and forced opposite sex marriages. It says sexual activity between people of the same gender is legal, although same sex couples are not legally recognized currently by any form. Performing a symbolic same sex marriage is not prohibited under Indian law either. It says on the 6th of September 2018, the Supreme Court of India decriminalized homosexuality by declaring Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code unconstitutional. Homosexuality was never illegal or a criminal offense in ancient India and traditional codes, but was criminalized by the British during their rule in India. All right, it says since 2014, transgender people in India have been allowed to change their gender without sex reassignment surgery and have a constitutional right to register themselves under a third gender. Additionally, some states protect Hijras, a traditional third gender population in South Asia. Right, they got a whole population. Oh well, shit. Everybody got their own population of these freaks. It says through housing programs, welfare benefits, pension schemes. Right, and they got that over here in the U.S. I forget exactly what it's called. They got plenty of groups or organizations protecting these people. It says free surgeries in government hospitals and other programs designed to assist them. There are approximately 4.8 million transgender people in India, right? So that if you wonder why all this flooding and shit going on over there, one, they had something to do with keeping Israel asleep. Two, they got this homosexuality and lesbianism and queer. Don't forget about the queers going on in India right now. So the Lord killing them off, and that's what they get. Right, this precept. This is Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. their blood should be upon them, right? So the Lord killing them off, man, because it's against the laws of the Bible. You know, the Bible governs the whole world, man. You know, and it's gonna happen in the kingdom of heaven. But the Lord already said once. Let me find the scripture. The Lord already said Sodom was an example, you know, for what not to do. You know, not just for America, for the whole world. But the whole world has drunken the wine of America. Um, uh, I know it's one in Second Peter, but I haven't read this one in a minute neither. Give me 1 second. This is Jude chapter 1, verse 7. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, right? Which that's what they do when they have sex with men, you know, lesbianism, you know, bestiality, you know, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire, right? So Sodom and Gomorrah was set forth an example, man, for what not to do, man. They got hit with fire and brimstone, man. So what you think is gonna happen to America and a lot of these other nations that's taking after the philosophies of America, man? So, but yeah, I don't want to drag this out too much longer. I got another video real quick.
Been displaced and dozens are dead across Nepal, India. Millions of people have been displaced and dozens are dead across Nepal, India and Bangladesh as heavy monsoon rains grip the region. The worst hit areas have suffered more than 72 hours of torrential downpours which have triggered landslides and caused large rivers to burst their banks.
As the ground beneath is swallowed up by the floodwaters, a school building disappears in seconds. India's northeast has been among the hardest hit. More than 1.5 million people forced from their homes as the relentless downpours continue to batter the region. Hundreds of villages have been inundated after the Brahmaputra River burst its banks. Farmers say their livelihoods have been wiped away.
The biggest loss has been the crops. As soon as farmers began sowing, irrigating the land with electric pumps and all, then the rain began. The rainfall has also been extreme, 70 to 72 hours of continuous rain. Nearly all of the crops have been destroyed.
These newlyweds in Bihar state, not letting the rising waters dampen their day. Authorities say the region has experienced some of its highest rainfall accumulations in 15 years. In neighbouring Nepal, the death toll has climbed to at least 65 and dozens are missing. Officials estimate 10,000 people are sheltering in schools, public buildings and makeshift tents. While in Bangladesh, at least a dozen people have been killed by lightning and around 500,000 people have been displaced.
My house is under great danger due to land erosion. Everything is up to the Almighty now.
The unforgiving conditions also destroying refugee villages in Cox's Bazar, where at least 10 Rohingya refugees who fled Myanmar have died in mudslides. The monsoon season traditionally ends in September. Forecasters say more heavy rain is expected in the coming days. Virginia Langberg, SBS World News.
Right, so more heavy rain means more deaths, more suffering, more famines, and they go through this a whole lot over there. It's just since we live in the time of the end, it's getting worse. So, and a lot of these countries don't have the money to keep rebuilding, keep funding for food, or even healthy food. That's why you got GMOs out. So, but this is 2nd Ezra chapter 8, verse 50. It says, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the later time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." Right. So, and I just got to reading the LGBT thing, and then there's plenty other things that's out there that the Lord, that's against the scriptures, that the Lord judging the whole world for, not just India, but, since we on India, that the Lord judging India for, and India is Elam. So, you don't see no Elamite presidents. Wait a minute. No, you don't see no Indian president standing up saying that the blacks are the Israelites. Ahmadinejad acted like he wanted to say something about it, but he didn't really say nothing about it. He didn't say, well, they the Israelites, But it says, this is the last scripture. This is 2nd Ezra. Chapter 16, verse 19, it says, "Behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges." Right? So when it comes to our people, the Israelites, Israel is supposed to turn back to the Lord and correct themselves, man. And straighten themselves out, because we living in the last days. And forget the other nations. When the kingdom come, that's when they gonna get forced to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. But with that being said, all praise to Yahweh Bashim Shai, Bashim Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.